So you're on your investment journey and you want to know the difference between a brokerage account and an IRA, or simply which funds should go into which account. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be covering in this video. What's up, everyone? My name is Trey and welcome to Let's Talk Finances. On this channel, I like to help you get out of debt, stay out of debt, reach financial independence so that you can begin building wealth. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. So get ready, because becoming a millionaire starts right now. So maybe you're in a position of which you've maxed out your 401k at work and you have some extra money and don't quite know what to do with it. Or maybe you're that individual who's new to investing and you've heard of all these terms, brokerage account, IRA, and you're just a little bit confused as to which account you should be investing your hard-earned money in. To understand which accounts you need to be investing in, you first need to understand some very key terms that you're going to be hearing very frequently in your investing journey. Number one, tax advantaged accounts. Number two, taxable accounts, tax deferred accounts, tax exempt accounts. All of these terms can become very confusing, but I'm going to make it very simple for you. So an often asked question that many people have, and I had it as well, was, hey, what funds should I be putting into an IRA? Or what funds should I be putting into a brokerage account? So if you stay tuned until the end of the video, I will be giving you a list of some very popular funds that go into both accounts. Let's start off with what most people deem as tax advantaged accounts. A tax advantaged account is simply put an IRA, so an individual retirement account. So an IRA is a retirement investment vehicle that offers tax advantages for your retirement savings. Investing in an IRA means that your invested money grows tax deferred. So don't get confused with these terms, all right? Just think of it like this. In an IRA, it's very specific for your retirement goals, all right? It's a vehicle that you use to put your money into, and your money grows tax-free using compound interest. So when you hear of IRA, tax deferral, tax exempt, tax advantaged accounts, these are all referring to IRAs, which are individual retirement accounts. Now, an example of some of these IRAs or tax advantaged accounts, the list goes on and on. So there's traditional IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA, 401ks, 403bs, 529. I mean, the list goes on and on. For the sake of commonality in this video, we're going to be talking about two in specific that are Roth IRAs and traditional IRAs. Now, in terms of contributions to these IRAs, meaning the maximum amount of money that you can actually put into these accounts to take advantage of compound interest. So in 2019 to 2021, the cap or limit for these accounts are $6,000. However, if you're 50 years old or older, you can invest $7,000 per year into these accounts. With a Roth IRA, you can withdraw your contributions without any penalties. Meaning, if you put $10,000 into a Roth IRA, the $10,000 that you put into it, you can withdraw that whenever you want to without any penalties. However, the amount of money that you've managed to gain through compound interest, you cannot withdraw without a 10% penalty. With a traditional IRA, you'll have to wait until you're 59 and a half years old before you can make any type of withdrawal without assuming that 10% penalty. The main difference between the two, Roth and traditional, in a Roth IRA, you're putting your money pre-taxed into that account. That means before you put your money into a Roth IRA, it's going to be taxed. And the reason for that is so that when you withdraw your money, you won't be taxed. So the money is taxed before it goes in. At retirement, when you go to take that money out, there'll be no taxes. However, on a traditional IRA, your money will not be pre-taxed before it goes into the account. However, it will be taxed when you go to withdraw the money out of the account. So just remember those two main differences. With the Roth IRA, you're going to be paying taxes before the money goes into the account. However, you will not be taxed when you go to bring the money out of the account at retirement. But you can withdraw your contributions into that Roth IRA without any penalties. With a traditional IRA, your money will not be taxed before you put it into the account. However, when you go to withdraw those funds, your money will be taxed prior to your ability to withdraw those funds. And in addition, you'll have to wait until you're 59 and a half years old to be able to withdraw those funds without a 10% penalty. If you're expecting your income to be higher at retirement, then you might want to consider a Roth IRA so you can get taxed at the rate of which you are making income today. However, if you're expecting for your income to be about the same or even lower at retirement, then you may want to consider a traditional IRA. Now that we've discussed IRAs, let's go into what a brokerage account is. A brokerage account is simply an investment account that allows you to buy and sell stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, as well as other assets. The key component to a brokerage account is that there are no tax advantages. You will be taxed on any gains that you make in your brokerage account with funds that you are investing in. And for that reason, it is very pertinent for you to put funds that are very tax efficient into your brokerage account. When you're putting investments into a brokerage account, you need to consider how long that money will be invested and also what your risk tolerance is. Now, yes, it's true that brokerage accounts are taxable accounts, and you'll hear that term a lot. There can be some flexibility when it comes to putting funds or investments into that brokerage account. When you sell securities at a profit, you will incur capital gains taxes, and those tax rates can vary. So for that reason, you want to be putting funds into your brokerage account that are tax efficient. Now, generally, exchange traded funds or ETFs are known to be very tax efficient simply because of its makeup and structure. But the type of funds that you want to be putting in are those that are low yielding and low dividend paying. So low returns and very slow growth. The reason being, the more growth, the more returns and dividends that you are yielding, the higher taxes you're going to be paying on those particular funds. The key is strategizing on ways to minimize taxes by choosing tax-favored investments, harvesting losses against gains, and funds that are tax-favored with capital gains taxes. So the next question that people will generally ask is a common one. Which one is better, a brokerage account or an IRA? Oftentimes that answer is going to depend on your personal investment strategy and your goals. But to make it make more sense to you, let me break this down in a way that's blanketed for most investors. The first thing that you need to take away when deciding between a brokerage account and an IRA is that you don't really have to choose between the two. A lot of investors can actually invest in both. Now, having both of these accounts allows you to focus on saving for retirement. However, it also allows you to put some emphasis on those short-term goals, such as buying a house or even a car. I always advise any new investor or investors in general to consider investing regularly, thinking long-term, and most importantly, diversification. When focusing on retirement, however, an IRA is probably going to be a better choice for you simply because of its tax advantages and tax advantaged implications. You want to retire with a very comfortable nest egg, and in order to do so, you need to be taking advantage of the ability to defer those taxes. That is the name of the game, all right? Oftentimes when you think of wealthy individuals, what you're not thinking about is the millions and millions of dollars in taxes that they are not paying. And it's not that they're cheating the system, they just know how to play the tax deferment game. Now, in terms of a brokerage account, you may want to consider one when you've already maxed out your IRAs, or if you want to put more money than the IRA allows you to do within a year. First, we're going to start off with funds for your brokerage account. Number one, FZROX, Fidelity Zero Total Stock Market Index Fund. This one is going to be a good one to go into a brokerage account simply because of its slow growth and it does not pay out high dividends, all right? So it's any total stock market index fund is going to be good for your brokerage account. Fund number 2, FZILX, Fidelity's Zero Total International Index Funds, all right? So this is going to be the equivalent of the one that I just mentioned. However, this gives you exposure to the international market. Now, generally speaking, international funds are going to naturally be a little bit more tax efficient, and that's because of the international tax credit that you can get. But just remember, you have to have over 45% investment into an international fund to get that credit. Number 3, that's going to be VTI, which is Vanguard's Total Stock Market ETF. But just remember, slow growth, low yield, and low dividends are the route to go for your brokerage account. Number 4, VOOG, Vanguard's S&P 500 Growth ETF is another great one. And the 5th one, MGK, Vanguard's Mega Cap Growth ETF. Growth funds are very, very good funds to put into your brokerage account. The reason being is that it does not pay high dividends, all right? So just remember that rule of thumb for investments into your brokerage account. Now, let's go over 5 funds that will be best suited for your IRA. The first fund being FSRNX, Fidelity's Real Estate Index Fund. Now, generally speaking, any REITs, REITs, or real estate related funds are going to be very good to put into your IRAs. You won't want to do so into a brokerage account just because of its implication and structure or its makeup, all right? Fund number 2, VTSAX, Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, one of my personal favorites. This is also going to be a good one simply because it's diversification. Now, it's not a high growing, high dividend yielding fund, but it also will go in good into a brokerage account or even an IRA. Fund number 3, that is VTWAX, Vanguard's Total World Stock Index Fund, or its equivalent ETF, which would be VT. Now, it does have international exposure as well, which is going to allow it to be a little bit more tax efficient. However, to date, it does not have over 45% interest internationally, so you generally won't be able to take advantage of the international tax credits. However, with that being said, I've always said that Vanguard's Total World Stock Index Fund, or ETF, is a very, very good and complete solid fund to invest in. Fund number 4, and that's going to be VOO, Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, which is another very, very good fund that you can hold as a core holding. Number 5, and the last fund to consider into an IRA, and that is VTI. And so there you have it, guys. What an IRA is, what a tax advantage, tax deferred, tax exempt account is, and what a brokerage account is. And also which one may be best suited for you. If you found any benefit in the contents of this video, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And in addition, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. So as always, I would like to thank the men and women of this country who have and who continue to serve. I greatly appreciate you all. So until the next video, guys, let's talk finances then.